What's going on there, traders? This is Matt with Conservative Trades, ending the day up over $200. So this is a good day for me. For those of you who are in the live stream, I was up, I think, a little more than this, like, I don't know, 206, 209, something like that. Anyway, as you can see, I decided to take one more stab on ERI, excuse me. It looked like there was a good place to get in on there. I was going to take one more stab and try to push my P&L up to about 235, 240-ish, somewhere around there. I know I was going for roughly about $30 to $40 on the trade, and I risked very little to do that. So as you can see, we're still ending the day green on ERI, but it's basically just paying for commissions and fees. So as a matter of fact, after fees and commissions, I'm probably ending the day up somewhere, I don't know, close to 170. So it's been a good day, guys, and I'm going to go over a couple of my trades here. And I will say that, I am finding, I think I'm finding my rhythm in this market right now. And one point that I made today is I know that I'm making good calls because there's a lot of calls that I make that end up going really well, going very favorably to how I call them. But I'm just not taking all of them. Now, as you can see, obviously, I did make some calls today, and I actually did take them. I put my money where my mouth was, and it turned out well, and we did good today. Yesterday was a pretty decent little day too, so we're not too shabby. So far, so good on the week, guys. But there's definitely several calls that I looked to make today, and I just didn't. Excuse me, I did not take them. I did not take them. And so, one point that I was making is, a really good trader is not somebody who just knows how to read the market and who can make really good calls. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely benefit in just being able to make good calls and being able to read the market. But what makes a really good trader is somebody who actually puts their money where their mouth is, somebody who actually gets in on the trade. Because there's so much more to trading than just making calls. This is why, I see some of these day trading gurus out there trying to sell their program because they can make calls. Well, that's just like paper trading. It's just like paper trading. It's just like simulated trading. I mean, you have no skin in the game. What makes a good trader is not just being able to make the calls, but to be able to put your money in there and maintain discipline and control and I guess trade the stock well. I guess number one, if it starts going in your direction, knowing how to scale out of your position, knowing certain areas and points of the price movement where you'll want to get out, and maybe even points of the price movement where you'll want to, add to your position. And then also knowing how to control it if it goes against you. So anyway, I just make that point because, even though I make a lot of really great calls, I don't consider myself a good trader just because of that. For me to be a good trader, it means actually having some skin in the game. Okay, and real skin in the game, not simulation. I tell you, and going back to what we were just talking about with some of these day trading gurus out there that that try to sell these courses, and they want you to follow them on Twitter or Instagram, whatever. They make these really good calls all the time, but that's all they're doing. They're just sitting there. Now, not everyone, and mind you, there are definitely some day traders out there who are making calls and actually taking them. I'm one of them, and then you've got day traders out there that are making calls and they don't take every single one of them. Okay. And so that would kind of be me, but I'm talking more specifically about these day traders out there that are trying to sell you some kind of course, or they're just trying to sell themselves to you basically because they know how to make good calls. Okay. And making good calls, yes, there is something to say for that. It is good if you can read the market that way. But to be a really good trader, you got to have skin in the game. It takes a lot more than that. Okay. And so just a little food for thought there for you guys. What I want to do is, first of all, I want to talk about three trades today. I'm not even going to worry about ERI. ERI was actually stock that one of the guys in the live stream chat had called out. And it was a great call. I jumped on it. I looked at it. It looked like, it was a good place to go short. I went short, ended up making, I don't know, $15 on it or something. And then, after the live stream, I came back to it a little bit later and I tried to make another stab at it and lost a few bucks, as you can see. But it was a very low risk to reward setup. Let's put it like that. But I'm not even going to bother going through that one. We'll start with DVAX because DVAX was actually the very first stock that I traded today. Oh, and look at this. I didn't realize it was actually starting to gain some momentum here. So this could be interesting, but let's go in here and show executions. And you can see that I actually had first made an entry point here. So I bought 100 shares at 684, and then I bought another 100 shares at 698. And then it looked like the stock was going to go, and it ended up going, wait, is this? No, that was 709. So it looked like it was going to go. It ended up coming back. So it came back on me and I sold. But then it started going up again, right? And I got in again and I thought, wow, this is it. And here's what I was watching, guys. You know, this is one of those stocks. It's very interesting that we didn't at least come up here and test these levels. Because if you look at here on the daily, it looked like we got a really good, solid, even test of these levels over here. And it looked like, I mean, DVAX just had all of the makings to be a good, solid breakout trade. Had a really good news catalyst. It was COVID-19 vaccination type news. So you know, fundamentally it looked good. And even from a technical perspective, one thing that I went through with the guys in the pre-market is I told them, I said, look, this has come all the way up here. It's pulled back. You know, it's made a run up, it's pulled back, a run up, it's pulled back. It keeps hitting this level of support. It's holding support. Okay. And it's not like it made a run up and then just came every time it came back, it made lower highs. No, it actually broke out over here and made higher highs. Okay. And so it looked like a really good case that this was going to actually come up and test these levels and maybe even get a good solid breakout today. Now, you guys know, I'm a short bias trader. I am not very good at taking longs, trading, taking long trades. This is just not my thing. Then you might be asking yourself, well, then Matt, why do you take longs if it's not your thing? Well, because here's the thing. Even though it's not my thing, I'm using the word thing a lot here. Even though it's not my thing, I still know how to take longs. I still profit from longs. There's plenty of times where I take longs and I do well on it. And if I see a setup for longs, I will trade a long strategy. You know, I'm not just like 100% short biased. I am a short bias trader by and large. But that doesn't mean that I also don't know how to take longs. And as a matter of fact, some of my best long setups are reversals. You know, I'm pretty darn good about calling reversals. And when I take them, they generally end up doing pretty well. Now, obviously, I didn't do that on here. But, you know, another strategy that I like to take a stab at from time to time is these low float or smaller cap, breakout type trades. If the patterns look good. And this pattern just looked good. It looked like it was really holding support really well in these areas. And so in my mind, there was no reason not to take a stab at it. But what I really like about this trade is how I managed the loss when it was going against me. I admitted I was wrong and I got out. And I'm glad that I did because, this really just ended up being a $64 loss. Okay, this was a $64 loss. That's fine. I can deal with that. I can deal with that because I stood to make probably, maybe even a couple of $100 on it, at least $150 on it. So we're dealing with a better than a 2-to-1 profit loss ratio, anywhere from maybe a 2.5 to 1 to a 3, maybe even a 4 to 1, just depending on how it went. And again, sometimes, if I see places where I can add to my position, this actually could have been a really good trade. But I had to admit that I was wrong, and I had a stopping point right here. And I said, if it gets below this, I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and get out. And I did. A little bit of slippage, but I got out. And we moved on. And one of the stocks that I moved on to was MRNA. And you'll see now, I always tell you guys, those of you who are new to the channel, you can always go back and watch the pre-market in the live stream. So we do stream live here Monday through Friday, beginning roughly around 9 a.m. And so you can go back. It's posted to the channel. You can see where we were talking about this and where we, drew these trend lines and where I was kind of addressing what was going on here in the price action. And I thought that, I was kind of prepared. I said, what I think MRNA is going to do is I said, I think it's going to test this trend line here, right around the $80 mark. The $80 mark is a very solid psychological number for a stock to hit. And I knew that there was a chance that it could even poke its way through it. And I would, my plan was to start averaging in roughly around $80. Now, I think I had an alert go off. I can't remember if I had set an alert to this. I know I was definitely watching it. It was number 1 on my stock list, I believe. Yeah, number 1. It was number 1 on my watch list today. So, but I was expecting this move. It didn't quite hit these levels, and I never got in, as you can see. But I tell you what, I really wish that I did. I really wish I had at least put in an order and had an order ready to go up here at the 760, 770 levels. because I've seen this so many times where it doesn't quite come up to test the whole trend line. And what my plan would have been would be to average in with like 50 shares here and 50 shares here and maybe 50 shares here. And then if it finally broke out over these levels, and look at this, MRNA is just, oh, it's just tanking. It's just tanking. But if it had broken out over these levels, I would have gotten out. That was kind of the plan. That's kind of what I talked about in the live stream this morning. Well, what happened is I saw that it made its way all the way up to where this trend line was, close enough anyway, right? And then it turned over and there was this huge red candle. So I went ahead and got in here. Okay, couldn't break VWAP, came down, I got in again. It was kind of teetering around this 9 EMA, and then I started getting out of my position here, and then I got in here again at the break of this level right here, and took my shares off the table here. Okay, and then I noticed I drew this trend line, and obviously I had taken a small trade here in pre-market. I was actually looking for this to get a breakdown to test these lows here, and just a quick little pre-market trade. But as you can see, it wasn't going to work, so I actually got out exactly break even. So I came into the market on MRNA break even. But what I was looking for. Once it came down here, I drew this trend line. And again, this is something you can go back, you can watch the live stream. I was telling everybody, I said, you know what, guys? I said, I think that this is, I am so wanting to FOMO into this right now. I told everybody in the live stream, I said, this may be finding support on this trend line and it may get bought up. And so it did. It started getting bought up. But what I was hoping for was a VWAP rejection. So I got in here with roughly 50 shares, I think. And it continued to move against me. So I got in here twice, another 50 here and another 50 here. I think at one point I was up to maybe 200 shares on it. And my stop would have been if it broke high of day. Okay, but it didn't. You can see that it kind of teetered around here. And as it was teetering around here, then I moved my stop to here. I was thinking, you know, if this breaks over 79.14, I'm going to have to get out. And it almost did. It came up to 79.08. But it finally started resolving to the downside and got a really nice flush here, really nice move on it. Took another nice little scalping trade here as it was, you know, because it had broke through this trend line. So I thought, man, this is just going to pop up and come back down. But it was kind of resting around these areas. So I didn't really want to give it a shot. I should have just held on to this because it, you know, if you think about it, this could have been such a solid move to the downside. But I did call in the chat. I said, look, I am looking for a potential gap fill today on the daily chart. Again, you can go back and check that out. And as we can see, we're almost kind of starting to get that right now. And so mRNA is losing a lot of its value. But look, guys, the SPY is also losing a lot of its value. Look at this on the SPY. The whole market is just getting crushed right now. And I don't know why. I don't know if there's been some kind of news that's come out. Obviously, there's been something that's happened since we've been in this video here or recording this video here right now. So I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I'll have to check it out. That's pretty interesting. But anyway, guys, so we got. That's the trade on mRNA. Best trade of the day. Did really well on that, and was very, very proud of that trade. And NVAX was another one. NVAX had kind of made its way up, and it had retested these levels up here. Tested the previous day high, but then it just started having this massive sell-off. Came all the way down here, and I knew then this stock is weak. This stock is weak. We've almost had basically a double top. It could not break the previous day high. It's had a massive, massive sell-off. What I'm looking for now is a VWAP rejection, but I wanted to go ahead and start adding in case we got a 9 EMA rejection. So I started adding here, and I added again up here at VWAP. Sure enough, it started coming down. I got out here, I got out here, and I got out the rest here. Okay, so, and I kind of wish I had, again, you know, but it's like we were talking about in yesterday's video. Hindsight is 20/20, guys. We're all millionaires in our hindsight accounts, as Clay Trader would say. But anyway, guys, so that's pretty much the trades for the day. I hope you guys also did well, those of you who are following this. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And guys, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me how it went. I'd love to know. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the comments below as well. Again, if you are new to the channel, consider joining us in the live stream. We do stream live, like I said, Monday through Friday, beginning roughly around 9 a.m. And to those of you who are constantly in the live stream every day, I appreciate you guys. Love having you and looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Have a great evening. Take care.